Hello, so welcome to the end of November wrap up or my fave things from November. I'm going to start with sort of life updates, but look down below for the time stamps so you can just go to the section that you want to hear about. November for my family was the month of illnesses. Every single person in my family was sick. I think I was sick for almost 3 weeks with the flu. There was laryngitis, there were colds, there was just everything, cracked teeth, all that sort of stuff, just one thing after another. So November was quite a full-on month. I'm kind of glad it's over, even though it was my birthday month, and normally I really enjoy myself in November. This one was just a bit full-on for me. And it was supposed to be the last month of spring. Guys, no spring was sprung, unfortunately. It was just an extended winter. We have finally hit summer today. It is November and we're getting the first hints of sunshine and warmth. It's only going to be temporary. I've already checked the forecast. I think we've got 3 days of like summery vibes and then it's back to rain and cold, chilly days, but what can you do? What can you do? That's pretty much all I'm updating for November. Now on to my favorite things. So in terms of TV shows, no surprise, it is Wednesday Addams. I love this. I know I was quite critical of the first episode just because it really didn't feel true to the Addams family to me. But I love it for what it is. I sort of had to let go of expecting a traditional portrayal of like Gomez, Morticia and their family dynamics and just go with the flow, and I've really enjoyed it. It's hard not to want to spoil it for everyone who hasn't seen it all, but yeah, I predicted a few things, but yeah, I cannot wait for it to come back and continue. I'm totally 100% into it, and I wish there were more sort of supernatural, kitschy, vibey, gothy type of shows. Then we've got my favorite movie. I did not watch hardly any movies this month. I think I watched Disenchanted. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that. That was not great. And the other movie I watched was Enola Holmes 2, like, you know, Sherlock Holmes' little sister. And I thought it was quite fun. It's cute. It was entertaining. So I guess that's my pick for this month out of the films I've watched, because I'm definitely not voting for Disenchanted 2, bro. And in regards to my favorite yarn project, I did like the 2 tops I made. This one's not my favorite, the blue one is. So I'll put a picture of the blue one up. That was my favorite crafting project that I made this month. I'm excited to try some more tops, but with corset lacing at the back. In regards to the favorite yarn I used, I really liked the 24 Mile Hollow yarn in Hellfire Heidi. That was a little bag I made for my Pulp Girls Tarot, so that was cute. Really liked that yarn this month. My favorite recipe this month was the date and walnut loaf. It was really good. I ate it so fast, so quickly, and I definitely have to make it again. For purchases, I did buy some new like crockery, but it hasn't arrived. So that'll be in next month's favorite purchases, I'm sure. But otherwise, yeah, I didn't actually buy anything this month, that's actually pretty good for me. I was trying to sort of back off a bit with my spending and be more intentional with what I purchase, especially now that Christmas is right around the corner and I'm going to be spending a ton of cash because Santa's got to come. So now for my favorite tarot and oracle decks. So after this, I will show you in depth all of the new decks that I got this month and what I think of them after having worked with them for a bit. But if I had to pick a favorite tarot, it's hands down the Pythonic Tarot. I adored it. It really was just an instant connection straight out the gate. I like the aesthetic, I like the guidebook, I like how it reads. It's just right up my alley. It's very scorpionic and I'm really into it. Now for the oracle deck, it was a close call, but the herbal astrology oracle was the winner. I couldn't get enough of it. As soon as I did one reading, I went through the entire guidebook and I did all the spreads and I just kept wanting to read with it over and over again because it just resonated so deeply with me. I adored the words in the book. I loved the illustrations. I loved all the symbology. I loved the elements. I loved everything about it. It was a very unassuming deck that I was sort of ambivalent about. I wasn't quite sure, am I going to like it, am I not? And it blew me away. So that was my favorite deck for this month. My favorite book, so the book that was rated the highest this month was the Book of Gothel, and I rated that 4.25. So I didn't have any 5-star reads this month, unfortunately, but I still really did enjoy the Book of Gothel. It was very surprising. I was expecting a sort of, Tangled's version of Mother Gothel in it, and it wasn't that at all. It was just completely left field. Yes, there was a sort of Rapunzel-y, Gothel-y element, but it's definitely sort of taking quite a few steps back from the original story, and I was just all here for it. It was dark and violent, and there were some elements of love. Don't go into it wanting a really traditional happy ever after. I'm still satisfied with the way it ended, but it is not a happily ever after book. To me personally though, it just adds to its appeal of being a little different, a little quirky, a little dark and odd, and I really enjoyed it. Those are all of my favorite things from this month, and now we'll go on to all of the deck. I forgot to mention who won my giveaway, and it is Amethyst Ascension. So congratulations, love. I will grab your address from you and send you your goodies. Hello. Welcome to the end of the month wrap up, where I go through the decks, where I go through all the decks that I received this month. So I'll start with the Cat Tarot, which is by Megan Lynn Cott. Now with this deck, just have a quick look through. So this is the guidebook. It's very basic. As you can see, it's very, very simple descriptions. These are the cards. These are the backs. They are super cute. This deck is not for me though. So this deck is for my youngest daughter. Does she read tarot? No. She basically just likes to go through the cards every day and decide which of the cards symbolizes each cat on that particular day. She's like, this is definitely Nova, and this is Willow, and this is Sylvie. And she just loves it. She just brings it out every time she wants to look at some cute kitties. And yeah, it's great. It's well priced. It's super cute. It works well. I did read with it a couple of times. It's very fun and playful, and yeah, it's obviously staying in our collection because it's my daughter's. Next we have L'Oracle de Reflets by Celia Melville. So I purchased quite a few decks from this person. This is the guidebook. It's in French and English, and it's very, very basic. You just get a couple of keywords pretty much for each it's in French, for each topic. These are the backs. So they are gorgeous. They're matte. They've got the matte black edging, which is really cool. I love the art style. I think that was the main reason that I bought it, was I just thought it was so pretty. But this one just doesn't read well for me. It's just that case of, it's not you, it's me. And the guidebook is fairly basic. I love more in-depth descriptions when it comes to guidebooks. I like to sort of intuitively get those hits where some sentence grabs you and shakes you up and makes you pay attention. But yeah, with the keywords, some of the keywords in this too, I don't necessarily agree with. I think the horse was one of them. I can't quite remember. There was some that I was like, I don't really see that this way, and that doesn't feel right to me. And I tried so hard though. I tried so hard with this deck because I just love its aesthetic. But it just, not so much that one. It just didn't work for me, unfortunately. So I am passing this on though to one of the lucky viewers, because yeah, I don't resell my decks. I just gift them, and I thought I'd gift a whole bunch all together. Excuse me for the cat head. Next we have the Herbal Astrology Oracle. I Can't Talk Today by Adriana Ayales. I can't wait to make a bag for this because you guessed it, I am 100% keeping this deck. So this is the guidebook. It's fantastic. You've got the card with the plant, the keyword for that, the Latin name, upright reversed, astrological. You've got history about the elements on the card, and then the guidance, the divinatory meaning. So this was a really excellent, well-written guidebook. These are the backs, which I think are just gorgeous. The card is that sort of satin matte cardstock. And I'm absolutely in love with this deck. I love the theme and the topics that are discussed. I love the imagery. I love the art style. It's really cool. Like I said, the guidebook is well written, and I just love sitting with it and reading it, and it reads really well for me. Straight away we connected immediately. I remember I was unsure about this deck because I hadn't seen it online. There weren't many photos. It was one of those pre-order deals. So I was taking a gamble, but something inside me said go for it. I do love plant and astrology decks, but this is just so unique for me in my collection, and I just adore it. I used it so much. You know, when you get a deck and it just connects so well that you just use it to death. Like, let's just keep doing 10,000 questions and spreads until the deck's like, all right, man, let me rest, please. I like your eagerness, but I've just come out of my hibernation and you're kind of working me to death. But yeah, I cannot wait to play with this more. I know it's going to be one of my all-time favorites. I just think it's amazeballs. Next up, we have the Animal Apothecary by Cara Elizabeth. Now, this is one that I was not drawn to at all. Like, I do not like the color palette. It's just not for me. So each card has the name of the animal, whatever it's on there, the keyword, and then about it. It's really well written once again. Like, I love the perspective of this and the words. Fantastic. These are the backs, which are cool, but like I said, the color scheme was not for me. I edged mine in the similar blue. I saw this on a tarot reader's channel. We're doing their spreads on there, and they did read from the guidebook with it. And I was like, okay, I like that message. Maybe I should check it out. And because it's mass market, it wasn't that expensive, but boy, I really was blown away. This, even though the art style is not for me, it's just not something I really vibe with. It's just amazing. I get such great readings with it. And like I said, it's all about the guidebook for this for me. It's just, it expands upon the sort of keyword or key sentence in such a unique, nuanced way that I absolutely adore it. It was definitely the dark horse. I thought, I'm gonna like it. I'm like, oh, I like it. I do. Despite the fact that I'm not into the aesthetics and the coloring, I really do love it. And for a while there, I thought it was going to be my absolute favorite deck of the month. It almost was, but then, you know, the herbal astrology came in. I was like, all right, herbal's going to have to get it, but this is a very close second for oracles. Then we have the Sacred Nature Oracle by Holly Wilmeth. This has got a tight airlock grip. It's hard to get out. So this is the guidebook, which is really hefty, really in-depth. So you've got the name of the card, the keyword with the plant, the Latin name, about the plant, and then you got sort of like a small divinatory meaning around here and an affirmation. It's in green, black and white. So this is it. These are the backs. I'm not a fan of the color. I really don't care for these backs. They're quite large and they're glossy, which is also not my favorite cardstock. So I think this was a Kickstarter back in the day, and I don't think it looked like this. I remember just ordering it without even seeing it because I thought it would be exactly the same. But look, I'm not a fan of the layout. Like, I just don't feel like this looks nice with the photos. And I don't think this sort of sepia tone photos work with this glossy cardstock at all. And I don't know, like, I would have loved in the guidebook, oops, the daisy. I would have loved in the guidebook if we could have seen the color version of the cards. I'm kind of missing it. I wish the guidebook wasn't in that green and was rather in color. And I don't know how I feel about it. I like the photography. I like the plants and the divinatory meanings that goes with it, but I just don't love it. So, like I said, at the moment, because I don't have the space, you know, I have two young children who just sort of envelop my entire house. They spread like weeds. Their things just end up in every single room. I originally had this area as my workspace only, but then they sort of demanded their own desks. And I did give in. We were doing homeschooling at that time, as you know, during the lockdowns. It was all home learning. So I was like, yeah, to be fair, I can't, you know, it sucks having to be in your room on this tiny little desk every day. So I did get them big desks they could do all their art projects on and stuff. But yeah, they've got stuff everywhere. The spare room, which was a library, is a playroom for my daughter because she has so many toys. One day that will be my book and deck collection room. But in the meantime, I got to keep it small. So I am actually going to let this go because I just, yeah, there were so many decks this month too. So many. And because there were ones that I instantly love, like just straight away, I knew you're for me. This one just couldn't find its place. Next up, we have the Death Doula Oracle. I can't remember whose channel I saw this on. I am really horrible at doing that. That's because most of the time when I watch YouTube, it is first thing in the morning while I'm still sort of in bed before I have to get up and take care of the kids and make breakfast. I just watch a video. But this is the Death Doula Oracle. So this is the guidebook. It's sort of that smooth glossy paper. It's very brief. So each card has such a brief amount. And then it'll also have at the bottom, it links you to the rituals and sort of practices. So this is the reason why I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this, because there's not much there. And some of the cards don't have links to rituals or practices either. But the deck itself is gorgeous. So these are the backs, which don't do anything for me personally. That dot just for some reason annoys me. I just want to like rub it off. It's got the shiny gilding. It's matte, which is lovely. Lovely matte cardstock with the foiling on the front. And I just really liked the photography. I used to do photography in school, in year 12. I used to be a food blogger at one stage. Like I adore photography. I'm always taking photos. And so I love this. I don't really have a lot of photography decks, but this, just the simplicity of it, and the colors and the framing and the exposures just all appeal to me. So I love the aesthetic of this deck. I like the keywords. I think they're really cool. And that's what I mean. It could have been expanded on so beautifully. I would have loved to have known more about connecting with the dead and having some more, and just having that fleshed out a lot more than it was, because it is so brief. Odyssey, it's so different, but then there's not much there. And I don't really know exactly where the author was coming from. Like also, like, why did they choose this imagery? I would love to know why this for Angel of Incidents. So that's where it sort of let me down. I'm like, tell me, talk to me. Why this keyword? Why this imagery? What's your meaning of this? Not just a sort of smattering of words and syllables and that's it, and sort of leaving it to yourself. So this is more of a, I guess, an intuitive deck. I love the rituals and the practices. I think they're fantastic. So that's great. I love that addition. But yeah, I just wanted a bit more. But am I going to get rid of it? Not yet. No, I'm going to put it in my purgatory bin and think about it and play with it a lot more in depth before I decide. See maybe if I can expand upon it myself, and therefore I don't need the guidebook. But I don't know. Because like I said, I have so many decks and so little space. So we'll see. Next up, we have Coastal Curiosities by Lennox Rees. So this really was the month of Kickstarter decks for me. They just all came. They all came. That being said, I have decks that I ordered way before these ones that still have not come. So Kickstarter really is a mixed bag. This is the guidebook. It's colorful. This deck, there was an absolute disconnect for me. I don't vibe with the keywords. The way it was written is bizarre. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like really muddled writing. It's not clear and concise messages. This is expanded, the second, like an updated version, and the author was going to talk more about like why they chose the symbols for it, but they didn't really. Sometimes they did. They say, a bat to represent this, but a lot of time they would just describe what's on the card. And like, I can see that myself. Like I can see there's a hat and there's a measuring tape and there's a coin and there's leaves, like an acorns. So that was a real letdown. The cardstock is gorgeous. It's that linen, that slippery sort of linen. And then I like the imagery. I do really like the artwork. I think it's gorgeous, but I couldn't read with it. Like I said, my associations with the keywords were completely different to the book, so I couldn't even use the book at all. Oh, goodness gracious me. So then I just tried reading it without the book and just associating my own words to the keywords. And then, so I tried reading without the guidebook whatsoever and just attributing my own meanings to the keywords, but it still didn't read for me. It didn't make sense. I couldn't meld it in with the rest of the reading, so I just had to accept that this deck and I would have to part ways. Here we have the Mushroom Hunters Tarot by Joe Buckley. Once again, Kickstarter deck. I will show you the cards. So here is the guidebook, and they're in this sort of like deep aubergine purple. It's very basic. This is just about the mushroom, and then you got the keywords. So it's not really tarot-y in that way. These are the backs, which don't really do it for me. Very plain compared to the front of the cards. I love the cardstock. It's that matte, smooth matte cardstock. I hadn't had a mushroom deck yet. So I really wanted one. So when I saw this on Kickstarter, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get it. But since that time, there have been other mushroom decks that have come out or are coming out that I think are better. I'm just going to say, so this one just isn't for me. Like I said, I need a better guidebook. The imagery is cute, but I don't know, I don't love it. And yeah, I've decided to rehome it because I've already pre-ordered some other mushroom decks, and I think my special mushroom deck is still out there. Here, so I've already made a bag, so you already know, keeping this deck. This was the Crystal Forests, and I'll show you the guidebook. So it's full color, which is great. It's glossy. It's only a little bit of information, but it's enough, and it does the job. So I think that's very pretty. The backs though suck. Like, why, bruh? Why would you do this when it's so colorful in the front? I don't know. I don't like this. I don't vibe with it. The edges, it all came colored, and I think that's gorgeous. Super cute. So matte colored edges. Perfect. Love it. And look at the fronts. So colorful and precious. So I just wish the backs were a bit different. But the cardstock is smooth, sort of matte, beautiful imagery. I loved straight away. I was like, okay, so we've got forests, which yay, watercolor, yay, and then in the colors of gemstones, sign me up. So I really love it. It's very calming. It really does have a great, gentle energy. And yeah, you can use it in multiple ways. So sometimes too, I might not only use the card, but then also use that crystal in my meditation that day. I'll tap into that crystal's energy, but I have really enjoyed working with it. Sometimes though, I will say it is hard to see. See, this is brassiated jasper, and that word says reparation, but you can barely see it on some of the cards. So that's only one of the only downsides. But at the same time, I'm not mad at it because it allows you to see more of the artwork. It's not too out there like it was with that Sacred Nature Oracle, which was very jarring having that title and that down the bottom. But yeah, this was a beautiful deck, and it is staying in my collection. Here we have the Monsoon Tarot. Unfortunately, like I said, I did have to rip it to get it out. I had a lot of hopes for this one. I'm going to start just by saying this is the guidebook, so it's in 2 languages, and this is all you get. And my partner surmised it perfectly. These meanings sort of feel like fortune cookie sayings. Like sometimes there's a strangeness to the English, enjoying life, which is a bit bizarre. So the guidebook, not great, guys. This is the cardstock. It is that shiny linen, so it is beautiful. This has a very strong scent though. Very strong scent. And I'm someone who has a very sensitive schnoz, and that is upsetting for me to smell it every time I open it. The imagery though, beautiful. I love the artwork so freaking much. It is so cute, and whimsical and strange and odd. It sort of reminds me of all those sort of Studio Ghibli films. So I was just like, I have to get it. And now I've gotten it, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, I can't use the guidebook at all, and I'm such, yeah. I know you're just like, Chanel, just let go of the guidebooks. Just use your own intuitive interpretations. I don't like doing it, guys. Like I do that with every reading, of course, but I don't just like doing that only because I just have I tend to get the same meanings in my head for each card. Maybe that will change with years of tarot practice. As you know, I only started this year. But yeah, at the moment, like I like having the guidebook to see different. And yeah, this guidebook was different. Definitely had different phrases that I had never heard of associated with these cards before, but it just didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel true in my readings. I was like, this doesn't vibe. This doesn't resonate. But I don't know. So like my partner also loves the aesthetics and he doesn't mind the weird fortune cookie. So I might just give it to him. But even if I decide, you know, I can't read with it because I haven't had a lot of time with it. And to be honest, the smell is a big factor with me not wanting to take it out. And I don't know if that will go away with time. But if I decide I don't want it and my partner doesn't want it, then I will just probably use these in my journals. Like, you know, when I do my diary entry for the day, I'll pull a card for that day and it'll be from this deck and I'll stick it in so that I get to keep the artwork because I keep my paper diaries. I love it. Look at that beautiful kitty. Because I love the artwork so much, but yeah, it just doesn't work for me as a deck. Okay, so here we've got the Pythonic Tarot. Apologies for my voice, guys. It still hasn't fully recovered from my illness. It's still quite weak. I'm trying my best, but I was not born with strong vocal cords. This is the Pythonic Tarot by Jessica Shaw. So this is so big. So I don't like massive guidebooks. It means I have to use a lot more yarn. And then the cards like move around in the pouch. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of giant guidebooks. I'd rather thicker, smaller ones, short and thick. So these are the card names. You've got about the scene. So whatever the imagery is on there, which I like that. You've got keywords and then you've got the upright meanings and the reverse meanings. But they have like sentences. Weird, unique sentences. And I love it. It's so different. And I'll read through all of them and be like that one and that one and that one and that one. And I just love them. They're so different and unique and really evocative. They set off all this imagery and thoughts and I love it. I just love it. It does definitely is well written and substantial. So these are the cards. I edged mine in like a metallic-y silvery purple, which I'm happy with that choice. I love the backs. I think they're gorge. The imagery is also, it's very colorful. It's like really dark gemstone colors. It's got that priestess knight vibe. It is obviously a shadowy deck, but I don't think it's all shadow. I think that the imagery is very sometimes confronting or eerie or creepy, but I still like it's got a sorcery sort of vibe. I love it. It's really scorpionic. So it's up my alley. I don't have a deck like this. I think the darkest deck I have is the True Black Tarot, and that feels more angelic to me. So I really love this sort of, you know, dark goddess deck, and it reads so bloody well. We connected immediately. I'm not a huge fan of the cardstock. It is quite flimsy, and you can see like I do have scuffing on the edges already, so I'm not sure how long it will hold up, but whatever, bruh, like I will do my best. And I just really enjoy it, and it's become an absolute favorite. And yeah, especially for, you know, the darker seasons of the year, I just adore it, and I'm looking forward to getting to know it a lot better. Check it out, like how dark and macabre, but I'm here for it. Okay, so in here we have the Enchanted Art Oracle. Mine have already bowed. I don't know if you can see that. So they are bowed. I edged mine in like a little sort of green. I have walkthroughs for every single deck that I'm showing you today. I can't put cards up for everything, so feel free to check that out. So this is a rose petal finish, which I really like. I'm a rose petal fan, especially when I don't need to shuffle a huge amount of cards like a tarot. This is just an oracle. I like the vintage look. Some of these cards though don't fit with the sort of retro vintage vibe, and I'll point one out when it comes along. So not all of the imagery is like spot on personally for me, but I do like most of this deck. I like, it's a little affirmation almost like deck, and I have never liked those really in the past, but this one is just so bang on that I'm like, okay, you can stay. Somehow every time I think, I'll pass you on because really what use will you have for me? And then I'll just be like, okay, just give me one message for today. And I'm like, damn girl, nailed it. You nailed it. I'm hearing it. That's obviously what I needed to hear today. And so yeah, every time I thought about letting it go, I pulled a card and I'm like, all right, goddamn. You are working hard to stay, let me tell you. So it's very female centered as well. It's very feminine, very pretty, Very sweet. It's such a sweet deck. And yeah, surprisingly, it's a stay-in. All right, so we've got Spirits of the Hedgerow. Once again, this is a Kickstarter deck. It's a hardcover book, massive. Yeah, like I said, I would rather smaller books and thicker books. It's full page, color, gloss, so that's great. Sylvie, bruh. Sylvie. Seriously. And you've got the name of the card, so whatever plant or animals on the card as an oracle or divinatory purpose. And then they've got like little things, which I think is adorable. Girl, come on, keep going, keep going, keep going, get on there. There you go. Which is great. So it's, a lot of them are recipes. I think some of the things might be like body things, water bowls. Unfortunately, one of the cards was missing in this deck. So, and the author has said that that has been an issue, and I don't know if it's going to be sent out or not. So the one that's missing was this one in bulk with the bunny. So if you went through my, someone mentioned it to me during my walkthrough. I didn't even notice. I sort of zone out while I'm flipping through the cards. I just go into my head. And yeah, I have a missing card. So that does suck. I'll go through it. So here it is in here. There's not a lot of cards in this deck. This is before I made my decision, they're the backs, to only get decks that are larger than, I think, 44 cards. So yeah, this doesn't have many cards. The cardstock is okay. It's sort of that satin finish. This just didn't really look how it looked online. It just didn't, no, Sylvie. It just, I don't know, it's not hitting the way it hit when I backed it. I just thought it would be done differently. Like it feels really, baby, could you not? Thank you. Yeah, the guidebook as well. I'm having trouble connecting to it and I'm not loving it, and that sucks because like I still like the artwork, but the way it sort of looks on the cards, it didn't look that way. It's like it's been smoothed and dulled down almost. It's not clear. And I don't know, like I remember a lot of people said like, hey, the borders were actually even bigger than this, so there was even less room for the pictures, and people were like, can we make the borders smaller? But I still feel like the borders are way too big. There's too much empty space around the image. But yeah, I don't know, like it feels a bit unpolished, the end results. Like I said, the author's had a lot of issues, so I understand. But for me, I don't know, I think I might be passing this on, but then it's like I have to wait to get that last card. I don't know. I don't know what to do, but I don't think I'm keeping it. It just, we haven't clicked. Next up, we've got this behemoth, the Canterbury Oracle, which is an ecological spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. This is very different, I hate these boxes, to the regular oracles. This is a novel, guys. It is a novel. So the book lover in me is like squealing with delight. So you've got the card, you've got sort of a story about the card. It really brings you into it. Keynotes, then you've got symbology, guidance, as an icon, as a portal, practice, creative prompt, and ecological connection. So this doesn't really work for me as a divinatory deck. This is more like, I would say, a study deck. Now, I have not had much time with it. I've literally only got it a few days ago and I've played with it twice. So I can't give an informed opinion. These are the backs. I don't like the backs. I don't like this. Yeah, they're circular and they're quite large, which I'm not really into the circular decks, personally. They're hard to shuffle and they get turned around all the time. And I don't like edging them either. So I would have loved this smaller. I'm not a big fan of this cardstock. It's very thin and yeah, glossy. So I don't like the cardstock. The sentences are cool. Like, your heart is in sync with cricket's song, the luminous brew, thorn in the paw, in the garden of lost teeth. Like, it's very cool. It's very quirky. It's very, you know, out there. Giving it turns into a bird. And like I said, I've only read 2 entries, so I'm interested to go through the whole deck and see like what are all of these cards and their meanings. And there's a certain way that they recommend to use it, like in sequential order, starting from a certain moon phase at a certain time of the year. So this is an in-depth deck, and I have to work with it before I can determine will I keep it or not. I've got to figure out like what, once I've gone through it all, what would its purpose be? How would I use it? Do I have any more use for it once I've gone through everything? So I think this one's going to take a while for me to figure out if it's staying in my collection or if it is really only a, you know, once through use kind of deck. Okay, so here we've got the Orion's Tarot by Sun. This took ages to get. It was just sold out. I saw everybody everywhere raving about it. And it's one of those ones where, once again, I was swayed by public opinion. So here are the cards. They're matte. They've got that very shiny silver foiling, which is already chipped, even though I barely used it. These are the fronts. Now the guidebook was supposed to be great, but I don't know. So it's beautifully done, as in it's got color, gloss. There's a bit of an introduction, how to use your tarot, some spreads, but then it gets straight into it. So it's not a lot of like previous information. It's just a bit of stuff about the animals that they've used to represent the major arcana. So just some extra information on those animals. And then it gets into it. You've just got the keywords, upright and reversed, and then a bit about the card and the animal. And it's not anything, like the writing's not amazing. And there's not a lot of like, they do it again for the, like the animals of each suit. I'll go through a little bit more in depth at the beginning. Yeah, it just wasn't like, wow, this is an amazing guidebook. Like, it's beautifully done, but in terms of the information in it and the writing, I wasn't really that wowed. Now, with these cards, look, I'm not a huge animal deck person, so start off by saying that. Sweetie, could you please try and be quiet? Thank you. Mummy's filming. Kids home early because she didn't want to do the colour run. So some of them are beautiful. So some of the images I do like. But it just, like, the artwork doesn't really do it for me, so to speak. And when I read with it, it didn't really read well for me. And every time I've tried to read with it, it's just flat. There's no connection. Like, I'm not connected to it at all. So that sucks. But it was just, I said, you know, further iteration that I've really not I've got to listen to my own instinct more than being swayed by others' feelings. But I did want to give it a go. It is mass market, so, you know, it wasn't a huge risk in terms of financial. But yeah, and it's also just not as vibrant as it seemed on screen. Like, I thought it was going to be just really bright and saturated, but it's actually quite dark and moody, this deck. But yeah, I just didn't, I barely touched it out of all the decks of this month. That's cute though. Those guys are the best. I think they're quackers. I just didn't feel drawn to like use it. I wanted to use the other ones more than this one. And yeah, I think I'm pretty certain, I'm almost 100% certain that I will be rehoming it. Oh, I love the cockatoos. Just because I think there's someone else that will actually really dig this. And like I said, I'm really trying to, at the moment, this point in time, pare down to the absolute decks that I love. Like, I don't want to be like, yeah, it's nice, I like it. I don't love it. So, like I said, maybe in the future when I'm older and I've got more space and I'm not taking care of kids, and I might become a collector and just have an entire, you know, library of decks. That could be the case. But right now, when space is limited and time is very limited, I just want to have only decks as soon as I grab them out. I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what messages you have for me. And this one just doesn't do it. So that was the Orion's Animal Tarot.
In this video, we're going to talk about Catland. This card is an image of a bird with also writing. And this is another one because you want Angel. This is the leaf and garden one. This means Christmas. This means you always love getting gifts for Christmas, and you love always Christmas and each day. This one is a special card. This is called a lunar card. This one is likes the stars, and it's always, this means you always love the snow and you love the galaxies, and yeah, you're very warm. This is the cloud one. The cloud one means that you have love the clouds and you see shapes in the clouds, and you always be grateful what you got. This one is sun cat. You love the sun, and what happens is you love how it's hot outside, and you always love going outside. Next one is crystal cat. Crystal cat loves going crystal caves, and she always loves collecting crystals for her collection. Next one, we have got the witch cat. You always love going outside, and you always want to stay up late, and you always love napping, and you love going brooms, and you wish you can stare at the night sky. Next, we have got the moon cat. You love being on the moon. You wish you were on the moon. You love the stars, and you love the night sky. You nap in the morning, and you wake up at night. This one is the yin yang card. You have a lot of energy, and you love going and using it all day, and you never rest. Sometimes you only rest for a little, and you love coming back. Next, we have got the aurora cat. You love the aurora galaxies, and you wish you can see it. And yeah, this is a cat you can use just in case. This is a reindeer cat. The reindeer cat loves knowing you are brave and strong. This is the cat, which means you're so calm, you don't want to fight back that much, and yeah, take care of others. This is the snow cat. You love the snow, wish you can see it, and you're furry and hot sometimes. Love jumpers. This one is a cat what you actually see like stars, what can be in shapes. You love the stars, and yeah. Next is smart cat. You are so smart. You are like a nerd. Keep up the great work and read a lot. And then this is rainbow cat. You love rainbows, joyful, plays a lot, and doesn't like going to sleep. This is lazy cat. You love being lazy, you're very squishy, everyone loves sleeping on you, and you sometimes play only a little, and you have a million toys. Next is friendly cat, and he loves rainbows, very friendly, and you always want to stare, and you're very playful, and you're very nice. Next is moon cat. You stare at the moon or wish you were there, and you always just love it, and you wish you were there so much that you'd be so fairy and sleep. Next is snow cat. You actually love the snow, and you sleep on it, roll on it. You just love it. You do snowball fights, you sleep a lot, and yeah. Next, we got angel cat. Angel cat, that means you really actually like the sky, you're very kind, help others, and don't laugh at them when they're hurt, and don't be a bully, never ever. Next, the last card, we have cat who's a fairy cat. Loves the garden. This is garden fairy cat. She loves the garden, rolls and plays on it, and she loves enjoying it and hugging the trees. And that means you're very kind. And that's it.